you tired of top-decking lands? Are you tired of the amount of Magic the Gathering puns that I've surely made in this video already? I'm tired thinking of them. What's going on, guys? My name is Tommy. Welcome back to the channel. It's time for the weirdest episode of min-maxing for fun and profit that I think I've ever done in my whole life. Today, Miss Wild-Eyed Changeling requests I optimize around the Harrow deck. And so we shall, with our second ever Magus optimization build, this time around the Card Caster. Want to play Gambit? GM won't let you play FFD20? Okay, cool. We gotcha. If you're liking what you're seeing, like, subscribe, ding the bell. This episode of Min-Maxing for Fun and Profit was brought to you in part by Nick Cirillo. See you later on today for Wrath of the Righteous, man. Best of luck. Hope I don't kill you with Alchemist Fire. Anyway, let's dive in. Okay, so I've never made it a secret that this is probably my favorite class in Pathfinder. Or at least in like my top 3. The Magus is the iconic gish of Pathfinder. Real good at shocking people, real good at stabbing people, combining them together for value. Ah yes, my friend. But what is value without knowledge of the fates? The Harrow is a powerful tool, but with a little practice, a flick of the wrist, as it were, you too can earn your own fate. Anyway, our race today is a human. There's a lot of feats being thrown around today. To be honest, this build ran through like 5 or 6 different shapes and sizes before we got set up with it, but at the end of the day, I just love having that extra feat. Prioritize your intelligence. It is your casting stat. You will need dexterity and a little bit of strength. I know, right? Who even am I? Never ignore your wisdom. Charisma and int are our dub stats today. As for our traits, as always with the Magus magical lineage, choosing something like, I don't know, Shocking Grasp will, worst case scenario, allow an intensified Shocking Grasp to still be a first level spell. Best case scenario, with Heightened Spell and a Pre-Errata, let Shocking Grasp become a cantrip. We talk at length about that in like one of the first episodes of Min-Maxing for Fun and Profit. Follow this card right up here if you'd like to learn about that one. Anywho, before feats, come, sit. At first level, I gain Deadly Dealer as a bonus feat, even though I do not meet the prerequisites. I, the Card Caster, can invest cards with enough magic to deal lethal damage even without Arcane Strike, so long as I have 1 point in my Arcane pool, which I unfortunately can only use to augment ranged weaponry. At 5th level, I can add Brilliant Energy, Distance, Flaming Burst, Frost, Icy Burst, Returning, Seeking, Shock, Shocking Burst, and Speed, though I must augment the entire deck when I do so, but who doesn't like to set cards on fire and throw them at things, am I right? At 2nd level, I can invest a single thrown weapon, with a single touch or ranged spell as part of the spell's normal casting time. It must target a single creature. The spell's range changes to match the range of my Harrow card, which, with Deadly Dealer, allows me to treat it as a dart. Of course, I may only spell strike at range. Let the Sword Saints with the int to AC take the hits. At 3rd level, whenever I randomly draw and throw a Harrow card matching 1 axis of my alignment, the card's critical threat range increases to 19 to 20. If I draw and throw a Harrow card matching my alignment exactly, the attack's critical multiplier increases to ×3, and I get a +4 on my confirmation. Now this is super cheesy, but there's definitely no rules as written in there that says you couldn't just stack your deck with cards that match your alignment. Some GMs may poo-poo that. I prefer to think I always like to top deck lethal if I can. But that isn't all, my friends. Archetype stacking is a fun thing, and we will be stacking the Card Caster with the Myrmidar. I will cast 1 fewer spell of each level than normal, but we're basically here for weapon training, which we get at 6th, 12th, and 18th levels a la the fighter ability. Turns out, that's huge for us. Literally when I saw this, I realized it would save me a dip 4 feats. Yeah, ironic given who requested this and how we built it before, but whatever. Before we talk about our feats, there is 1 dip. It was a monk for a little while. We have nixed that in favor of the cross-blooded sorcerer, choosing Orc and Draconic, because remember, my friends, if we are casting Shocking Grasp, doing electric damage, matching, say, a blue dragon's breath weapon type, +1 damage per die rolled, and then +1 damage per die rolled for anything that's damage dealing from the Orc bloodline means our Shocking Grasp, intensified, eventually is 10d6 plus GG. Let's talk about our feats, shall we? Let's look at this Deadly Dealer thing first. Remember, we get it for free at first. You can throw a card as though it were a dart with the same damage, range, and other features. And since a Hero deck can no longer be used as a fortune-telling device after we throw the first card, we're not really gonna worry about what the Hero deck looks like out of combat. We're doing lethal damage without Arcane Strike, which is sweet. The Hero cards are masterwork, but are destroyed, of course. The most important thing is a spellcaster can enhance a deck of cards as though it were a ranged weapon with 54 pieces of ammunition. So the Hero deck can be enchanted like it was a crossbow. So we'll talk about some sweet weapon enhancements for that. Of course, we're a ranged build, so point blank shot feels real great, doesn't it? And quick draw as well, because I always want to ensure I have a card in my hand to throw again. It's so much easier to top deck lethal when I can draw as a free action. Anywho, precise shot is next. Boring. -4, firing in melee, be gone. We all know what this one looks like. We've seen it a million times. Gotta have it because we're a ranged build. At 5th level, we'll take weapon focus with a dart, since we're treating the Hero deck as a dart via Deadly Dealer. And then it gets to the fun part. Next up, it's Star Toss style. We'll choose one weapon from the Throne Fighter weapon group, of course, the Dart/Hero card. While using this style in the chosen weapon, you gain a bonus on damage rolls made with the weapon equal to 2, +2 per style feat you possess. That this Star Toss style is a prerequisite. You cannot use this ability if you are carrying a weapon or shield in your offhand. Not only does this help pad our damage, remember, we'll be using our strength for damage, as this is a thrown weapon. It makes things, all the more interesting to watch. Let's assume, since we got 2 feats at level 5 from being a Magus and that bonus combat feat is nice, we took our Sorcerer dip at level 6. By then we're pretty set up. The extra damage is just icing. Hey, you know, speaking of icing on the cake, let's grab Intensify spell next. Because Shocking Grasp deserves to be cast a little better, and again, 10d6 plus 20 after our bloodline is just gnarly. I made my piece last week about how immunities versus a character like this are unfair, but resistances are not. This helps you cut down on resistances, and again, gods forbid they didn't have any electric resistance. It gets really gnarly really fast. But enough from Tommy. Next up, we'll take Star Toss Comet. As a standard action, you may make a single ranged thrown weapon attack at your full attack bonus with the chosen weapon. If you hit, you deal the damage normally and can make a second attack at your full attack bonus against a target within 1 range increment of the first. You determine cover from this attack from the first target's space instead of your space. You can make only 1 additional attack per round with this feat, but if you have Vital Strike or its variants, you can add this damage to the initial attack. This is huge. We're not full Bab as a Magus, but this lets us swing at our highest base attack forever. And it helps the piddly range increments of a thrown weapon get a little farther in combat, and let you hurt people a little more. So let us learn about one of those very advanced rules of 3.5 in Pathfinder. Oh, Tommy, I believe we're running them all the way back to 5e now, holding the charge. If I do not discharge the Shocking Grasp I cast in the round in which I cast it, I can hold it forever. I can continue to make touch attacks round after round. If I touch anything or anyone while holding a charge, even unintentionally, well, they're in for a shocking surprise. If I cast another spell, this spell goes away. I can also make a normal unarmed attack, or an attack with a natural weapon while holding this charge, and if I were to hit, I would do unarmed strike damage and the spell discharges. Or I may hit with a card that is holding the charge, give someone a Zatz, and bounce the card on. Fates have revealed you're taking a lot of damage, my friend. Anywho, moving forward, Vital Strike will be next, as we get immediate value out of it, helping our crappy damage dice do more damage, but you'll see how those damage dice are actually pretty sweet here in a second. Next, at level 12, with a bonus feat from the Magus, we will complete our style feats with Star Toss Shout. When you hit an opponent using Star Toss Comet, you can continue to make attacks against foes that are within 1 range increment of all previous. I can make a maximum number of attacks equal to 1 + 1 for 5 points base attack bonus I possess. The Sorcerer Dip hurts me, but the extra damage to them hurts them more. That's 3 attacks. with a BAB of 14 for the low, low price of one standard action. And it's a standard action that gets better and better for us. Next up, it's Improved Vital Strike. Because we need to throw more dice at the table, of course, clearly. Weapon Specialization will be next for that buff out to damage. After Weapon Specialization, we will grab Point Blank Master. Because, again, eventually things are going to be real freaking big. We want to make sure throwing cards doesn't get the table flipped at us because someone keeps top decking lands. Am I right? Next up, super late to the party, but still super great. Super combat feat, Improved Initiative. Going first lets you set up. Going first lets your battlefield control spells hit. Going first is oftentimes the difference between life and death. Literally can set the tone for the whole combat. I love Shocking Grasp. I think I might love the wall spells just a little more. The Magus has access to them, we should use them. I suppose I ought take Deadly Aim. I'm never attacking with my anything less than highest attack bonus. Might as well trade away some of that for damage, right? Of course. Now, let's talk about our weapon training. We count as a fighter, and we're only ever using one weapon, which means we can use some advanced training options in lieu of getting better at attacking things. First things first, as soon as I can grab it, Focused Weapon. I will select one weapon for which I have weapon focus and belongs to the associated fighter weapon group. Of course, the Dart. This will allow me to deal damage with this weapon based on the damage of the War Priest's sacred weapon, treating my fighter level as a War Priest. I'm sure you've noticed I haven't called out the Dart at all. A d4 of damage is not that exciting. But my friend, what if I told you that d4 became 2d6? What if I told you that 2d6 was 6d6 against the first target with Vital Strike? What if I told you that this little card I hold in my hand does as much damage as that Oath's Greatsword? I don't need to read a Hero deck to know how good that is. It's legitimately, we were going to be a Master of Many Styles monk running into Aesthetic style. No longer needed. Hail fighters. Lastly, Trained Throw will allow us, when we're making a ranged attack with a thrown weapon, applying our dexterity to attack rolls and strength on damage, to double our weapon training bonus on damage rolls. At this point, that's a flat +6 to damage. Disgusting. I really like this build, to be honest with you. I'm pretty sure all of the builds I make from now on are going in Excel docs that I can just hold on to forever because I keep becoming more and more enamored with the things I put together with my IRL party. Secretly, this episode of Min-Maxing for Fun and Profit was brought to you in part by Matt and Lucia for helping me build this. Anywho, moving forward, we get all of 2 Magus Arcana. I know, right? Try not to be too excited. Of course, one of these will be a familiar, and that familiar will be a little rabbit Compsognathus, or whatever that +4 to initiative familiar these days is, cause we go fast is why. And of course, Arcane Accuracy. Grant myself an insight bonus equal to my intelligence on attack rolls until the end of my turn. Wonderful if I've already held the charge and someone just needs to die. Now, here's where it gets really awkward. With Deadly Dealer, we can enchant a deck of cards as though it were a ranged weapon with 54 pieces of ammunition. Can does not mean has to. And I definitely can see some enchantments that we want to hold out on as a Magus, because it's like the strict upside of using a thrown weapon that no one knows anything about. Again, as always, first and foremost, buffing out our enhancement bonus to 5 will always serve our purposes, and since darts deal piercing damage, the training enchantment for improved critical will be super necessary. Again, it doesn't take much of a card reader to know that we want to critically hit more of the time. The spell storing enchantment is also a wonderful decision for us, because kids, what's better than 1 Shocking Grasp? Well, of course, 2 Shocking Grasps. There we go. Now let's break down the numbers, shall we? Let's assume we began play with 20 dexterity. We'll put 4 points into it from leveling up, a +4 tome, and a +6 belt. Is that Greek to you? Follow this card right up here. We'll teach you about the big 6. Means we end with a 34 dexterity, a modifier of 12. If we began with 13 strength, probably reasonable for most games, considering the Magus is super mad. +1 from leveling, +10 from belt and book, puts us at 24, or a mod of 7. At level 20, we're looking at a BAB of 14, 12 from Dex, +1 from point blank shot, +1 from weapon focus, +5 from the weapon enhancement, +3 from weapon training, -4 from deadly aim, means we're rolling at +32 to hit. We will unfortunately need a 17 to hit Cthulhu, which is basically in our threat range after drawing the right card. But True Strike is a thing, but Arcane Accuracy is a thing. Really, at this point, if you don't have regular access to True Strike, go home and rethink your life. Anyway, Improved Vital Strike has us throwing 6d6 at the bad guy's face, +1 point of damage from weapon training, +1 point of damage from point blank shot, plus a grand total of 6 from Star Toss style, receiving value even if there's not other guys to bounce the card into, +2 from weapon specialization, a further +8 from deadly aim, +7 strength, +6 weapon training plus trained throw, +5 enhancement, and for fun, an intensified shocking grasp with our bloodline for 10d6 plus 20. On average, we're rolling 56, and after our modifiers, on average, we do 167 points of damage when we connect. It'll take a while to hack through Cthulhu's HP with this, but I think this character is a little more about killing the ads. In the optimized party, we are definitely the switch hitter. Follow this card right here if you don't know what that means. When we need to throw down control magic, we throw down control magic. When there's a lot of little guys, we Vital Strike the biggest little guy and deliver a bunch of shocking grasp to him. Then let the cards bounce around and hit other people in the group that we're fighting. Of course, our damage drops off by 14d6 plus 20 after the first attack, but there's probably always going to be someone else to hit with a card. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. What do you guys think about the card caster? Would you play it? Have you played it? How do we feel about using the deck of many things in place of the hero deck? That seems fair and balanced, right? Yeah, of course. Throw it in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, you know, when I started recording this video, I thought this was the most off-the-wall thing I'd ever do with myself. No, not even. Next week on Min-Maxing for Fun and Profit, we're optimizing around Shrapnel Strike. Yeah, I'll give you a minute. Go ahead and look it up, see what it is. You know what? I'll give you a whole 7 days. See you next week.